Jayom Vishnupad Paramahansa Padavrajak Acharya Ashtar Sata Sri Srimad ISKCON BBT Pandacharya's Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Nitya Lila Prabhu Om Vishnupad is Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Ki Jai and Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Sikha Hosh Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopanath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Brajabhumanam Ki Jai Shri Navadvi Mayapur Dham Ki Jai Srila Achal Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Jamuna Mai Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Srimati Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai Their most beautiful lordship Shri Shukmini Dwarkadish Ki Jai Shri Shri Rukmini Dwarkanath Ki Jai Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Ki Jai Shri Shri Gaurnitai Ki Jai Samaveta Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Going back to home, back to Godhead Ki Jai ISKCON Los Angeles Yatra Ki Jai Brihad Madanga Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai International Food for Life Transcendental Prasadam Distribution Ki Jai Sri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari Haribo All glories to the assembled devotees All glories to the assembled devotees All glories to the assembled devotees All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga Glories to Srila Prabhupada Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narotamam Deving Saraswatim Yasam Tato Jayamudirayat. For reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, let us offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Lord Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author, and unto Srila Prabhupada, who is a translator, commentator, and our spiritual master. Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. By regularly attending the Srimad Bhagavatam class and by rendering service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving devotional service unto the personality of Godhead, whose worship with transcendental songs becomes established as an irrevocable fact. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're continuing our reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Today we're starting a new chapter, chapter 19 of the first canto. It's entitled The Appearance of Shukadev Goswami. So, text number 1. Sutta Uvacha Mahipatis tat karma garhyam Vichintayanat makritang sudharmana Aho maya nicham anaryavat kritam Niragasi brahmani gudha tejasi. Sutta Uvacha Mahipatis tat karma garhyam Vichintayanat makritang sudharmana Aho maya nicham anaryavat kritam Niragasi brahmani gudha tejasi. Sutta Uvacha Mahipatis tat karma garhyam Vichintayanat makritang sudharmana Aho maya nicham anaryavat kritam Niragasi brahmani gudha tejasi. Please chant. Sutovacha Mahi Patistvatatakara. Sutovacha Mahi Patistvata Karma Garhyam Vichintayan Atmakritang Siddharmanaha Aho Mayani Chamanarya Bhatkritam Niragasi Brahmani Gura Tejasi. Vaishnavis Sutovacha Niragasi Brahmani Gura Tejasi. All right, synonyms. Sutta Uvacha. Sutta Goswami said, Mahipatihi, the king, to, but, atta, thus, while coming back home. Tat, that, karma, act, garhyam, abominable, vichintayan, thus thinking, atmakritam, done by himself, sudurmanaha, very much depressed, aho, alas, maya, by me, nicham, heinous, anarya, uncivilized, but, like, kritam, done, niragasi, unto one who is faultless, brahmani, unto a brahmana, gudha, grave, tejasi, unto the powerful. Srila Prabhupada's translation for this verse, Sri Sutta Goswami said, while returning home, the king, Maharaj Parikshit, felt that the act he had committed against the faultless and powerful Brahmana was heinous and uncivilized. Consequently, he was distressed. Please repeat. Sri Sutta Goswami said, while returning home, the king, Maharaj Parikshit, felt that the act he had committed against the faultless and powerful Brahmana was heinous and uncivilized. Consequently, he was distressed. Srila Prabhupada's purport. The pious king regretted his accidental improper treatment of the powerful Brahmana who was faultless. Such repentance is natural for a good man like the king, and such repentance delivers a devotee from all kinds of sins accidentally committed. The devotees are naturally faultless. Accidental sins committed by a devotee are sincerely regretted, and by the grace of the Lord, all sins unwillingly committed by a devotee are burnt in the fire of repentance. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gaurani Pacharine Nirvashesha Shunyavani Paschati Deshtarne Om Agyana Tamirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Jaina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtang Shapitang Jaina Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeyahang Shri Guru Shri Yuttapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishavangsha Shri Rupam Sagajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tang Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitangsha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosate Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Pre Vancha Kalpatarubhya Shah Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanang Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So although he's king, the emperor of the world, Parikshit Maharaj, being also a devotee, has a very soft heart. This is natural for the devotees, because the devotee means understanding the different categories of existence, that there's a Supreme Lord, there's the Lord's expansions, which are on the same level as the Lord, they're the Lord's parts and parcel living entities. They're also expansions, Vibhinangsha expansions, but they're also part and parcel of the Lord, and they're also to be treated accordingly. Not that we pray to God, we try to love God, but the other living entities, even in human form, or to speak of other form, we neglect or we don't care what happened. No, the devotee has a soft heart and cares about everyone, whatever form that person may be in. We sometimes forget that the other forms, they're also persons. Once on a morning walk up in Northern California, Prabhupada noticed that one of his, I don't think she was initiated at that point, she was just coming along every day for the walk, and she would bring a dog. So one day the dog wasn't there, so Prabhupada said, "Where's the dog?" And one devotee said to Prabhupada, "Oh, she treats that dog like a person." And Prabhupada said, "Dog is also a person." So sometimes we forget all living entities. So what to speak of? Living entity in the form of a brahmana. So yes, he regretted the way he treated this faultless brahmana by garlanding him with the dead snake, and he was repentant. And the evidence that he was repentant was that he said, "I deserve to be punished, so let this punishment come upon me." This is even before he heard about the curse. And when he heard about the curse of Shringi, that he was cursed to die in 7 days, he said, "Yes, let this curse come upon me. I'm not going to resist. I deserve it. I acted improperly." So this is soft-hearted devotee. So in this chapter, progressively we'll hear the story how he immediately renounces his kingdom and all his possessions, sits down on the bank of the Ganges, which is glorified as holy water that can purify everything and everyone in this universe, up to and including the demigods. Then, as if by magic, but it's mentioned there that it's because of the super soul informing them, great personalities from all over the universe assemble. Come. Parshuram and all these great sages, and they all come and they assemble there on the bank of the Ganges to be with Maharaj Parikshit, because they know of his reputation as a great saintly king, especially protected by the Lord, Vishnu Rata. And they have assembled there to assist him in his final journey, his having to leave his body, which we all have to do. And this also indicates that we should be in that mood also. We should be always in the mood of being ready to assist another devotee, any living entity, what to speak of. Even when you see a cockroach is about to leave his body, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Literally, it's not a joke. We should be ready to assist any living entity because leaving the body is troublesome. Why is it troublesome? Because we're so attached to the body. Even though there's every indication that we're not this body, you don't have to be a great transcendentalist to understand it. Even in the Baya and Advait, they understand. What is this, Advait? What is that? I'm asking you, your hand, what is that? Your hand, what is this? Your head, touch your head. Yeah, what is that? My head, you see, it says my head. In other words, not I head, my head. I am the possessor of the head. I am the possessor of the hand. Children can get it so easily. And then when you ask them, who are you? Where are you then? This is your head, your hand. So where are you? Your head, your hand, where are you? No, you're not in the head. Generally, they point here to the chest. So no, that's your chest. So very easily, the children can understand. I'm not this head, this hand, this chest. I'm not the body. And the body is always changing. If you say you're this body, then which body are you? The 4-year-old body, the 15-year-old body, the 25-year-old body, the 85-year-old body? Which body? 87-year-old body. Which, Haribo. Which body are we? We're none of these bodies. But in spite of that, daily indication that we're not the body, still we remain attached. So when that final moment comes, it's not so easy to detach, and therefore assistance is welcome. And so as devotees, we should always be in the mood of being ready and willing to assist any other living entity to leave their body, whether it's a cockroach or somebody you don't know. First time I encountered death face to face was as a child. I saw a bus run over somebody. And that was, I had a sense, because seeing a person, you understand, at one moment this person is alive, and the next moment there's a dead body there. Where did the life go? You see, where did the life go? And you get it, even as a child, that something went away. Something that was there is now gone. So again, it's easy, children can easily accept that. They can see that and they can accept it. So that easy acceptance of the difference between the person and the person's body should be cultivated from the very beginning of life and scientifically explained so that they get it. And of course by lifestyle also. So Parikshit Maharaj encountered personally within the womb of his mother that he was not that body. The body had actually been destroyed by the monster. But Krishna gave him another body and he came out. So he knew from birth, he was self-realized, I'm not this body. This body in a moment can be burned, just as it was burned by the Brahmastra in the womb of my mother. Now it is about to be burned eventually by the venom of this snake bird. So he's sitting down on the bank of the Ganges. All these great personalities come from all around the universe. And he explains, they already knew the situation, but he explained, and he said, I need to be advised as to what exactly to do at this moment. Now, Prabhupada mentions in one purport later on that there was not complete agreement as to what to be done. But then the great sage Shukadeva Goswami arrived. He had been traveling incognito. And he was a great soul. This is mentioned in a verse. Sahaputra, the son of Vyasadeva, Mahayogin, is a great yogi. Samadrik, he had equal vision. He was seeing everybody equally. No distinction for him. Even male, female, we know. When he left home, 16-year-old boy naked, walking by a stream where the ladies are bathing. They were also naked, but no reaction in his body. So they could see this person is on a different level of existence. So they didn't cover up. But when the father came, Vyasadeva, they covered up. So he even stopped and asked them. He was chasing after somebody. He had to stop and ask him. When my son went by, you didn't cover up, but I am here and you're covering up. Why? And they said, we can see your son doesn't make any distinction between male, female. He's not making any distinction. But you're a householder, which means you have to make distinction. So we're covering up. So he arrived, Shukadeva Goswami, after traveling incognito through many provinces. And he was followed by a gang of, or a crowd, you could say, of children and women were following him and teasing him, making fun of him. Because as that verse says, Saha Putra Mahaya, Samadrik Nirvaka, Ekantamatra Unija, Gudo Muda Ivayate. Even though he was a great, great yogi and situated in transcendence, Guda Muda Ivayate. Iva Iyate. Just he was acting because he was not experienced in the world. He stayed in the womb of his mother for a long time, came out, heard Bhagavatam, and then took off. So he was not experienced in worldly ways, and people could tell that. So Gura, Muda, he seemed to be foolish, like a Muda, but no, on the highest level of existence. So he arrives in the arena of sacrifice, everybody stands up. He's seated nicely on the Vyasan, and then at the end of this chapter is when Shukadev Goswami asks the famous question, what is the duty of everyone in general, and specifically of a person who is about to die? So we're all in that category. Every one of us is about to die. We just don't make ourselves so conscious of it. We go about our daily affairs. We have our schedule, and we have our alarm that goes off at certain times to tell us what to do, remember to do this, that. But we don't have the alarm that goes off and says, remember, you're going to die. That alarm we suppress. It's actually there again. It's there within every one of us. We experience it by now. Every one of us have experienced the death of a relative or at least a pet or something. We've seen death rear its ugly face, but we don't allow the reality to sink in that it's going to happen to us. So that's, as Yudhishthira Maharaj says, is the most wonderful thing. And then when the Yaksha Prashna, part of the Mahabharata, and the Yaksha was asking him questions, so when he asked him, what is the most wonderful thing? Ahani hani bhutani gachanti yamalam shesha stavare ichanti kim ascharya takparam. What could be more wonderful than the fact that even though we see day by day so many people are dying, some of them die in horrible ways, like recently, not too far from here, another high school shoot up. Some kid went to school with a gun, killed 2 students, shot some others who didn't die, and then the last bullet, he was counting. He had one gun with just 5 or 6 rounds, whatever it was, shot off and saved the last bullet for himself. Boom. So death is going to come. Sometimes it's not pre-announced. These kids didn't know when they got up and went to school that day that it was their last day of existence in that body anyway. They didn't know. It was just another day. Mom, I got to go to school. Okay, see you later. Haribo, whatever. No. So everybody's going to go through that. The last day, the last breath is going to come. And this is what we're being prepared for. This is what we're being prepared for. We're very fortunate to hear the question that Parikshit Maharaj is asking. And we're going to be very fortunate, if we have not already done so, hear the answers given by Shukadev Goswami. So the first thing he does, he doesn't actually start speaking till the beginning of the next canto, first chapter of the next canto. And the very first statement he makes, Shukadev Goswami, is to glorify and thank Parikshit Maharaj for this wonderful question. Kariyane Shate Prashna, Krita Loko, Jana Nirpa. What is it? Atma Samatak Pungsam, Shota Vyarishu Yakparaha. That your question is glorious and it's relevant to everyone. And the answer is approved by all transcendentalists. So this is our situation. We're building up to that point. All these sages are coming in now, and Parikshit Maharaj is receiving them. Finally, Shukadev comes, he bows down to him, he asks the question, and then Shukadev Goswami replies by way of the entire Bhagavatam. The rest of the Bhagavatam will be in answer to that question. What is the duty of everyone in general, and specifically the duty of one who is about to die? So, I think it was Monday, Rabindranath gave a very nice class, very, very Shastric, and he quoted a couple of verses in there, and one of them seems to have generated some misunderstanding, or at least not clear understanding of. So this is from the next canto, second canto, chapter 3. And he started out first by quoting text 19, Svavid Vara Hostrakarai, Sangsita Purushak Pashu. That men who are like dogs, hogs, camel, and asses, they glorify others who never hear Krishna, who's known as Gadagaja, glorified. They never hear glorification of God, in other words. They are glorifying so many other things and persons, but never Krishna, never God. And then in the next verse, it says that those who never hear those messages of God or glorify Him, their ears are compared to the holes of snakes, and their tongues to the tongues of frogs. So some devotees didn't quite understand that verse. They thought that the holes in the human body, the ears in other words, are compared to the ears of snakes. But they say, well, snakes don't have ears. They can't hear. But that's not what the verse says. The verse says, Bile Bharata Vikramani. Bile means hole in the ground, just like we have Bila Svarga, the subterranean heavenly planets. So Bila is referring to the snake holes, and that's very, very clearly described by Srila Prabhupada. What happens is, in India and other countries, there's still a lot of agrarian activity. There has to be, otherwise we won't eat, but on a small scale. So they have the paddy fields. Paddy field means you make a depression by making a raised mound around. Usually it's a rectangular shape, but it could be oval or polygonal. It doesn't matter. But you raise up a bank around it so that water can remain and doesn't run away. And the rice grows in that wet environment. So that raised embankment that goes around the paddy field, usually, because wherever you grow anything, rodents like to come. They eat the grains or they eat the vegetables, whatever's growing. And they make holes in those embankments. Wherever there are rodents, snakes become attracted, because that's one of their main foods. Just like foolish humans, they like hamburgers, the snakes like their rat burgers. But because they're snakes, they're animals, there's no karma for a snake when it eats a rat. But for the human being who eats other animals, up to and including mother cow, there's heavy, heavy karma for doing that, because you're supposed to be, as is mentioned in today's verse, civilized. A civilized human being doesn't do that. So anyway, that comparison in that verse is that the rats make the hole in the paddy embankment, the snakes come and eat them, and then they go in that hole. So that hole becomes dangerous. The hole in the human body, the ears that are not used for hearing the message of God, becomes dangerous, because all of the stuff that you hear that's not related to Christian politics and sports and drama and this and that makes your ear holes a dangerous place, because it's keeping you attached to the material realm. Whereas the comparison is pointing out that those holes in the field, they may look innocent. A child may think, oh, nice hole, and stick, but usually snakes are in there, because they go in there, they eat the rats, and then they take it over as home. They stay there in the holes. So that's why they're called snake holes. So that verse is not referring to any holes in the head of the snake, because generally speaking, the snakes don't have external ears. But if you Google, do snakes hear? Scientists say, actually they do hear. They don't have an external hole for an ear, but they have an internal ear. Our internal ear is filled with fluid, but theirs is filled with air. So they pick up vibrations. So the next statement in that verse is that the croaking of the frogs attracts the snakes. And sometimes the devotees misunderstand anything. Well, how can the snakes hear the frogs? Snakes don't hear. But actually, scientists are finding out, because science means modern science, they speculate. And they're always changing their speculation. So at one point they speculated snakes don't hear, because they don't have any holes in their head. And some say, well, they hear by tasting them. No, they're not. When they flick their tongue out, it's not to hear, it's to smell. We use our noses, we sniff the air and we smell aromas if it's nice, or odor if it's bad. Sometimes, especially people who are ESL, they confuse those two. An aroma is a pleasant smell. An odor is a bad smell. So we sniff the air with our nose. So the snake sniffs the air with its tongue. It picks up particles of scent and it puts it in what's called its Jacobson organ. And that's how they smell. But they can also hear. They hear vibrations. They pick up vibrations, even though they don't have external ears. Another example is elephants. Elephants have huge ears. They can hear the same sounds that we hear, but they hear sounds that we don't hear. They make subsonic sounds. In other words, frequencies that are so low that human ears can't hear it. But how do they hear it? It's not actually with their external ear like you would think. they hear with the pads of their feet because those subsonic vibrations send vibrations through the ground. So an elephant can communicate through the ground. They make subsonic sounds that other elephants miles away can pick up, and they communicate that way. Oh, you have an elephant in your color book. Yeah, Jai. So similarly, the snakes, even though they don't have external ears, science is finding out that they actually can pick up vibrations with their inner ear. So they do have a sense of hearing, even though externally it seems they don't. So we should understand when we see these analogies, comparisons in the Bhagavatam, Prabhupada's purports, they're perfect. Don't try to second guess. Yes, we may be curious. How is it that the snake hears the frog? Ostensibly, snakes don't have external ears, but they have the ability to pick up vibration. Because people wonder, when a snake buzzes, like rattlesnakes, we have a lot of rattlesnakes here in Southern California, when they buzz their tail like that, do they themselves hear it? They pick it up because of the vibration. They pick it up. So, snakes play a very prominent part in this philosophy. It will play a prominent part in Parikshit's departure. As we know, he's been cursed to be bitten by a snake bird. What is a snake bird? I wondered that when I was in Univoti. What is a snake bird? Is there such a creature? And what I was told, I haven't substantiated it with any verse in the Bhagavatam, but what I was told is that there are certain types of cobras, when they get to the end of their life, they manifest wings, and they fly up in the sky, and they're so full of venom at that point, anything they bite dies instantly. If they can't find a moving creature, humans, or another animal, then they bite even a tree, and the tree immediately goes up in flames. Because their venom at that point is so concentrated and so heavy. So this is what will happen to Parikshit. But snakes are mentioned in so many other contexts. I remember the very first time I went to India was 76. Went to the Mayapur Vrindavan Festival. I got my second initiation from Prabhupada in his quarters in Mayapur on that trip. And so the very first evening we arrived, we landed in Calcutta, stayed overnight in Calcutta, and the next day we went to Mayapur. And at that point, they just had the first level of that long building. I think they call it the Gada building now. That long building next to the temple. That was just the main, first floor had been done. They say the ground floor in India. We say first floor in America. But so that level was done. And all of us brahmacharis, we had to sleep on the roof of that level, which became obviously the floor of the next level when it was built. But they put some, tarps to cover it and some canvas on and we were sleeping there. But when we arrived, it was dusk, and there was a huge commotion on that level. And we asked, what's going on? They said, oh, they just found a cobra and they killed it, don't worry. So that's where we had to go sleep, where they just killed a cobra. So then I was curious, and I was asking some of the local brahmacharis, are there more cobras around? And I said, Prabhu, if you knew how many cobras are here in Mayapur, you wouldn't come. There's so many cobras in Mayapur. I was doing some research. They said there are more than 270 different species of snakes in India, but out of that, there are 4, and out of that, there are like 60 that are venomous, and out of the 60, there are 4 that are super venomous that you have to be careful of, and cobras are obviously one of them. Their venom is not the most toxic out there, but they are so huge, and they deliver so much neurotoxin that generally death occurs if you don't get treatment right away. The common cobra, it's called the Indian cobra. That one grows to about 8, 10, 12 feet like that. They get pretty big. The biggest one is called the king cobra. That grows to about 18 feet. And cobras in general have the ability, they can pick up 1/3 of their body length and still move. So if you encounter a king cobra and they raise 1/3, that's like 6 feet, they can look a 6-foot man in the eye. That's very terrifying. But the good news is that cobras generally try to avoid people. Even when they encounter you, if they raise up in that, they're just trying to scare you, get out of my way. And if there's a way that they can move, they'll go away. They usually don't attack. Unless they're cornered and they have no way out, then they will attack you. Prabhupada, as you know, you may have read from the Lilamrita, encountered cobras in his bathroom in the Kanch building. went to the bathroom and there was a cobra in there, and Prabhupada came out, and the snake actually came after him, and Prabhupada had slammed the door in the snake's head, so the snake was trying to get on Prabhupada, and he was calling out for assistance, and finally, I think Brahmananda came, or some other devotees came, like that. And then Prabhupada told him, and he said, "Did you find the other one?" And other one? Yeah, he said, they usually travel in pairs. So those snakes, the common Indian cobra, they're one of the 4 deadliest snakes in India. And then the others, there's a Russell's viper, which is a pretty heavy, thick snake, not as long as the cobra. They're very easy to get bitten by because they're camouflage themselves in the leaves, litter, and stuff like that. And people regularly step on them, especially at night. They come out at night, you step on them, boom, they bite you. And then there's a crate. Crate I encountered in Vrindavan. Apparently they're a lot more in the northern section than in the southern section of India. So these crate, especially the banded crate, they're also very venomous. And then there's a very small one called the saw-scale viper. They're very tiny snakes, and therefore they're easy to miss, or sometimes children even pick them up because they think they're so cute, but they have very, very deadly venom. So those 4 snakes you have to watch out for if you go to India. The cobras, the Russell's viper, the saw-scale viper, and the crate. Those are the most venomous snakes. So anyway, at the end, Parikshit will encounter this venomous snake bird, which is apparently a cobra that grows wings at the end of its life, and he will be bitten, but he will be ready. He's already ready. He's already detached, but after hearing from Shukadeva Goswami, he'll be completely ready. So this is what we're supposed to be gleaning from hearing the Bhagavatam every day, preparing ourselves for the inevitable, for that final moment when it comes. We won't be shocked. No, we'll be ready. We should be ready at any moment. Things are going from bad to worse in Kali Yuga. It's not a safe place. We had to put in these speed humps because people go speeding down Watsik Avenue all the time. At any moment you can get hit. So many crazy people coming around the neighborhood. Just be ready. You have to be ready. And how do we stay prepared? We can't always necessarily be hearing Bhagavatam, but we can hear Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we'll stop here. Any questions, comments? Maharaj first.
Thanks for a very wonderful class, especially on the ways and means of the snake. It was
That's because I'm snake-like.
Yeah, just parenthetically, in case anyone doesn't know this, but the black widow spider and the brown widow are more deadly than a rattlesnake. So, and they are around here. So don't pick up. Yeah, they are. In the gardens in the area, so don't pick up a little black widow just for fun or pet. One point that you made about snakes hearing, and that's a very important point. I mean, it's so obvious. We see snake charmers. You see them in India, and especially in bazaars and those types of area. And if they couldn't hear, then how is it that they become charmed and they become mesmerized and virtually do whatever the snake charmer wants the snake to do, just by the sound? He makes this beautiful sound, and the snake becomes alert and very mesmerized. Another example is that the mantra. There are certain mantras which, if you know and you've been authorized to give, and you recite those mantras, the snake will hear it through the vibrations, as you mentioned, and then they will become controlled. That's another example of what you said. Now, in that regard, I saw this on television. There was a woman who was completely deaf, okay? She could hear nothing. But she learned to play the guitar and play beautiful songs. Now, how could she do that? She mentioned that the way she hears is through the vibrations which hit the floor and vibrate into the bottom of her feet. So it supports the point that you were making. We have powers sometimes that we don't even know we have, but in circumstances of emergency, they sometimes become manifest. So thanks for bringing that point up.
So actually, there's a nice verse that compares envious people to snakes. Sarpa kura kala kura, sarpa kura ta kala. Manchoshidi, it says that the envious snake is actually better than an envious human being because you can control an envious snake with mantras, mantra. Manchoshidi, oshidi means herbs. So with herbs and mantras, you can control an envious snake. But the envious human being, you can't control them in any way. They're just vicious and envious. So thank you very much. Ron.
Nice comment. I have a question now, if I may. It's a quickie. I've received this question many times, and I'm sure other devotees have, and that is, how did all these sages find out that there was going to be a great assembly of sages, and there was going to be a major sage, namely Shukdeva Goswami, who is going to narrate the whole Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj. Now, hundreds of people showed up. Now, there was no email, no telephones, no drops from the air, at least none that I heard of what is written in the Bhagavatam, no information. Besides, they all came this all happened very quickly. How did they get here so fast? I mean, I could give, please, you give the answer, I'm sure.
Yeah, I like I said, if you read through the chapter, there's one purport at least where Prabhupada deals with that. Because it seems they appear out of just by magic. But he says, no, it's a super soul. The super soul is obviously aware of everything. Super soul wanted Parikshit Maharaj to have this exalted audience for his departure. So the super soul informed everybody. And as to how they travel, different sages travel differently. Some sages know how to travel using the waters of the Ganges. As it's mentioned, it mentions there clearly he was set up on the southern bank of the Ganges. He was facing the north. He was sitting on a mat of straw where the roots were facing to the east. Everything is clearly described there. And so some sages, Prabhupada has mentioned in several places, they know how to travel by the Akash Ganga. The Ganges not only flows physically on this planet, but it flows throughout the universe. So some of them know how to get into the Ganges on one planet and pop up on another planet. And even on this planet, he said some sages or some yogis know how to dip into the Ganges in Calcutta and then pop out of the Ganges in Hardwar. They know how to travel via the Ganga, either the Akash Ganga or the Ganges on this planet. So these sages have powers that we are not aware of, or even if we're aware of, we can't imitate. We don't know how to do that. And so yeah, they were informed by the Super Soul, and they travel by different methods depending on their different levels. Like I stated, Parashuram is one of the persons that was there. So he's an incarnation. He can travel anywhere he wants. And there's some great sages that were on higher planets. Again, they know this art of how to travel from planet to planet without Sputnik. They don't need to blast off in some rocket that can blow up, and they don't need that. They have their subtle ways of traveling around the universe. Because this is not the only case. There are other cases of incidents where sages just appear from all over the universe. And like when Bhishmadev was departing. We already read the departure of Bhishmadev. People came, from all over the universe. They came. Bhishmadev. Yeah, so they came from all over the universe to Bhishmadev depart. Similarly, how did they know? The Super Soul informs them, and they have their different methods of travel, and they show up. It's their Sankirtan. They want to be there when a great soul is leaving. They want to give whatever assistance they can, and they also know that it's a very, very great occurrence, and it's very pleasing to the Lord when we assist others in leaving their bodies. So this is what we're trained to do: how to leave our own bodies and how to assist others in leaving their bodies.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Right.
I'd just like to add one quick point.
Okay,
That is, we have Narada Muni. In 1 second, he can travel to another world, to the spiritual world.
Yeah.
How can he do it? Well, that's a power. And it's a power that many yogis get, where they can travel from planet to planet.
Right.
And so, even if one does not know how to do it, he can be, that power can be generated from one person to another. He can, how can I put it? He can share that power. Just as one can share a mantra, like the Kunti Devi, she shared it with Madri. So one can share that power and bring a person or bring 10 persons to a place where otherwise he would not be able to travel.
Right. Grantha Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai.
My apologies for taking up all the time.
Hare Krishna.